What is going on, everybody? We're about to get started. Looks like we got a few people here.
Yo, hello.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up, man? Yeah, my stuff's working.
What's going
How you
on?
doing, man?
How's everything?
Man, crazy. It was crazy day with the news today. I mean, I don't trade news. I can with my Rapid, but it's interesting to watch it play out in real time, kind of analyze the macroeconomic data.
Yeah, so tell the people, obviously I've seen you back and forth in the
Yeah, man.
in the funded group a little bit. So yeah, tell the people maybe a little bit about yourself, give a bit of an introduction.
How you doing? So my name's Rboz. I am 21 years old. I'm currently a senior in college right now. I live in Minnesota. I go to the University of Minnesota, and yeah, no, it's crazy. Like where I am now, like I never thought I'd be here. In my trading journey. And yeah, I just recently got funded, I think 2 weeks ago, maybe. Still looking to get my payout, trying to figure out when's the best day for that. But yeah, I go a lot between here and New York City. So it's kind of like my second home.
You're in you said you're in Minnesota?
Yeah, I'm in Minnesota. Yep.
Yeah, if you're coming to New York City, you gotta let me know. I mean, I'm actually over there right now. I live in Florida, but I'm visiting over there right now.
Dude, you go to you went to Rutgers, right? You're an alum there from there?
Yeah.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Like so I have family in Saddle River. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
So Ramsey, Saddle River, that's where I live, but then I literally, like, New York's like 20 minutes away from there. So
So what made you go to Minnesota?
well, I actually moved. I have family. My grandma, my grandparents who are here, and I mean, when I was younger, I used to live with them. So basically, I think in like eighth grade. So I used to live in Minnesota. Like when I was I was born in, I think, Missouri, and I moved to Minnesota when I was like 5. But then I moved to New Jersey to like 7th grade, and then I moved back in like 8th grade to Minnesota, and I've just been here since. I don't know. It's just like the environment. It's just a different environment, I just always
Minnesota,
like,
New Jersey.
yeah.
New Jersey is it's such an unfriendly state. The people, it's definitely a bit different. I mean, I've never been to Minnesota, but I'm just assuming like the Midwest people are a bit more friendly.
Dude, I mean, no, you're 100% right. Like Minnesota, like literally borders Canada. So I mean, like the people in general are, I mean, as Canadian people are pretty nice. But I mean, even too, like in New Jersey, like I don't know, like the vibe there is really kind of like it's more like urban, obviously, right? Like being in a suburb like right outside New York City, like it's just it's about like the lifestyle, like Minnesota, dude. Like if you were to drive on the highways here, just super peaceful. Like traffic is like bro, like I'm sure you drive on like the George Washington Bridge, right, bro? Like my girlfriend lives in the city as well, and like dude, like when I would go drive to her, like the traffic would be like 2 hours, 3 hours, like
yeah.
So
yeah, it's kind of nuts. I mean,
yeah, man.
I think Florida is definitely similar. I don't know what it is about the caliber of the people in the city in New Jersey and just the East Coast. They're very much just they're definitely educated. I don't know what it is. I don't want to say like the people aren't as happy per se, but it's an interesting thing that's going on. Like definitely very money driven. Definitely
For sure.
Like social classes definitely play a big role like in life on the East Coast.
Oh,
So,
bro, 100%. Like,
yeah.
like Upper Saddle River, like that whole like Bergen County area is like super wealthy, like super wealthy. I think like there's like one like telecom billionaire that's like in like a 20-mile radius or some shit like that. I don't even know, but like,
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen the houses, right? Like it's crazy.
No, yeah, I know. I've been, I'm up in Bergen. I used to actually work at this gym up in Bergen.
Which gym?
Some years back. It was a small gym. It was called American Eagle. Yeah, it's like an MMA gym.
Nice. Okay, cool.
But yeah, it's definitely interesting. I mean, I think that up here it's very much about what high school you go to, and then what college you go to, and then what job do you have, and like stuff like that. And I love Florida because down there it's like very much more. I mean, it's a red state. It's very much more like start a business, like be self-sustaining. Like not as many rules, like less government like involvement, like stuff like that. Like
I'm sure, yeah. And I think it's like
less taxes, like it's
and obviously like I'm sure you've had like that entrepreneurial like mindset within you from like a younger age too. So like kind of growing up, like just in that back of your mind, you just didn't like feel like that was a good place for you, like New Jersey, New York. So like obviously like when you went to Miami, it was probably like just eye opening.
No, I mean that's why it's interesting because people people might say, oh, there's more, intellectual people in New York City or New Jersey. And I just think that it's a misconception of like what really matters. I love to have conversations with people that are intellectuals, right? That are educated and whatnot. But at the same time, I mean, when it comes to business and in regards to like making moves in business, it really just comes down to results. Like I don't really care if someone is educated, if someone's intellectual, if someone's this and that, if some sort of social status, it just comes down to results, man. Like if
Oh, of course, dude. Of course.
someone gets
100%.
results and they run a good business, they have a good product, they have good skills, like that's all that fucking matters. And I think, New Jersey, New York area is very much caught up in like the educational route versus like
Oh,
the
100%.
technical,
100%,
like the
man.
vocational, like I think it just comes down to acquire skills and like, yeah. So definitely don't hate this area. Like definitely think that there's a lot of positives about it. But for you, I think it's interesting. So you're obviously you're in Minnesota. You said you're a senior in college, so you're
Yeah,
you're
man.
wrapping up
Yeah.
now. What do you kind of like seeing, you're active in the Discord. What do you kind of think about everything that's going on in general, right? Like you're going to class, you're taking class with these kids, they're lining up to get jobs. I'm sure you're thinking about getting a job, but then at the same time, you're like in the Discord and there's all these people hustling, taking challenges, making money, right? Like what's your overall kind of viewpoint on all this?
Dude, I think it's freaking crazy because like when I like first, so I've known about trading since like 2014, 2016. Like I remember I have vivid memories of, being broke and I just like was frustrated because like I wasn't able to get the things I wanted. I wasn't able to do the things I did that I wanted to do, So like I remember even like since like seventh, eighth grade, I would just like listen, like how do I make money? And I remember there's just like this website, this forum, and basically like people would have their own like products, like guides to like, make money like quick and shit like that. So like I remember like I was on that forum and like I would just buy stuff like that. So I mean, even from like an early age, right? Like I just kind of had that like that mindset to like, make money. But I just think like it's just really crazy because, like being where I'm at now, like I'm probably my whole trading journey, it's been like two to 3 years now, probably. Like, I think we all, when we first started getting into trading, like we don't really know the industry, right? Like we see like all the gurus on YouTube, like we see all these videos, like we see the kind of like the lifestyle. But I feel like being at this point, like you really gotta, I understand now that it's like you gotta detach from that, right? Like that's not really what Forex is. And I'm sure like with the MLMs, like the multi-level marketing, right? Like IML and shit like that. Like how easy this industry can be, like, faked, right? A lot of people fall into like the traps. So that was a super big thing. And luckily I didn't fall for that. But I think recently my friend was trying to get into Forex and he told me like some dude tried to recruit him and I was like, bro, like I've been doing this for a minute now. Like, just don't do that.
Yeah. Like, be careful. Take care of yourself out there. Be careful.
Yeah, man. 100%, 100%. And I
like,
think like,
dude, it's man, it's such an interesting game right now. Like you said, I mean, there's a lot of these traps going on Instagram, Forex gurus, things like that, and then there's also, positive things on Instagram, on Twitter, on all these social platforms, people showcasing their results. For example, that guy yesterday on Twitter, he got paid out like a $28,000 payout. He posted about us. We did a whole giveaway around his content.
Paladin or something, right? Yeah.
Paladin. Yeah.
No, I think it's like it's wild too, because see, he's a legit trader though. Like you can like obviously like he's gotten payouts like from your firm. Like you can just tell like he's legit. But I feel like also like see, like for example, like those are the people that you should be looking up to for inspiration. Like those top 1% of traders, instead of like just like random people just trying to show you like some random MT4s or trying to sell you something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I say this all the time. I'm just like, people are looking up to people on IG that simply they're not real, right? They're not like Instagram. It has a sense of fallacy. Like it's fake, to an extent. It's this manufactured reality that's put on the internet. It's not reality, right? So it on Instagram with these people who are posting payouts, making it look easy. They're on the jet. They're in a trade. You know what I'm saying? Like they're got their feet up. Like guys, the real trader is in his room, like sweating bullets. Like either hyped, whatever, or
Dude,
maybe the more seasoned
literally,
trader
man.
isn't sweating bullets, but they're not on the jet. Like, I hate to break it to you guys. Like, they're probably in their office trading from their desk. Like, they're not.
Like for example, like those pictures that you see, like, oh, you can trade for, like, the dude's on his beach with the laptop. Like, bro,
Oh
I
my
need to be
God.
on I need to be on my desktop so I can copy my values from TradingView to MT4 and stuff like that, like fast as possible. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's just not, like, you need a desktop, with a mouse and
Yeah.
stuff.
I mean, I'm sure there's people out there, that are listening to this and they're like, I trade on my phone, like I make money, whatever. But if you want to take this stuff seriously, like I don't run TFT from my phone. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm on my computer, you know what I'm saying? I'm logged in, I've got a desktop, I've got everything organized that I need to, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not running this thing from my phone. So I think you guys should be a bit more serious about your business as well. Get serious about it, get on the computer, get on the desktop. I've been saying this a long time. Like this is one of the reasons I was excited once TFT started taking off and I started realizing like prop firms, the potential of it. I kind of realized like, guys, like the real traders are going to be verified by prop firms. Like prop firms, a third party. We can't false market. We can't do false marketing. We can't do false advertising. For a company our size, if we were to do false advertising and we were to get caught, we would be fucked. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like we can't participate in that. So all the things that we're sharing, all the profits, all the stories of traders, none of these are paid actors. Like these are all real people. They're getting verified by a third party. We're verifying that we're paying them out. These are the people that you should be looking up to. And that's why these AMAs have, I think, been so special and they're starting to grow more and more. We see there's about 200 people on here now. Is the people that come on these AMAs and share their story. And these are really the people that have gotten paid by us for the most part. And these are the people that you guys should be listening to. If they have programs and courses, we let them drop the links, to get people, to make people aware of like where they're at. But these are the people that you really should be listening to. These are the people with the actual results, not some random dude on Instagram posting his MT4 because it's blue on Monday. You know what I'm saying?
Nah, bro, 100%. Like you said that perfectly.
Doesn't make any sense. So tell us a little bit more. I know we've got Sat on here. You're muted right now. Let's try to come on the mic and see if you can see if it works. So SSFX, he's the guy that's got paid out 203K. He was having some issues with his mic. And then 1-800, you want the Rboz. Tell us a little bit more. So you're currently funded. I know this. Tell us a bit more about your experience with like TFT, prop firms in general.
Oh, dude, like I can tell you my whole thing. So essentially, I really started taking trading seriously, I think, end of my sophomore year, like in the spring. So let me quickly pull up the calendar real quick, like when that was. I think that was 29. So yeah, like spring of 2021, kind of like that whole like winter 2022 to 2021, kind of that transition point. But essentially, I bought some courses, I learned some stuff, and every day as a trader, like even now, like you're just learning so much, like with like to be a master in this field, like you need like a decade of experience, like minimum. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Real market experience is very different from back testing and learning this concept, learning this strat. Like you have to have that real market experience to be able to analyze the ticks in real time, because that's completely different. But originally, my mentor told me about FTMO. So FTMO is the kind of, I think it was like the main firm, like at then it was kind of like the golden standard, right? I mean, I think you guys are the golden standard right now. Like you're gonna be way better than FTMO. But yeah, FTMO was the first firm that I got introduced to, and man, I think I was so excited. I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna I thought it was crazy. Like just the idea of having a prop firm available to you guys right now. Like you guys don't understand how blessed we technically are, because like imagine paying like $573, like with FTMO, that's what it was. Like let's assume like $500, right? And then you literally get a 100K account that you can literally make whatever, like 80%, 90%, whatever you make, like in a 2-week period, in a month, right? Like that can literally like change your life. That'll push you in like the top, like what, like 1% of earners if you have consistent big payouts, even off a 100K account. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, 100%.
So,
I mean,
it's crazy.
It's quite, yeah. It's like, it is mind blowing, like to me. And getting into the details, people love to hate on prop firms. They're like, oh, they don't copy traders right away. They don't copy all traders, this and that. And I think at the end of the day, everyone's in the business of making money. You guys are in the business of making money. We're in the business of making money. The union of the prop firm, like the recipe is the prop firm needs to offer something to you guys that's beneficial, right? We can't fuck over the clients and charge too much. We can't create these crazy rules. We can't create hidden rules, like all this crazy stuff. We have to be very transparent. That's how we earn the trust of the client. You guys obviously have to trade, right? You guys have to trade. You guys have to have a strategy. You guys can't be gaming the system. The goal is for you guys to actually provide us with data, with a strategy that works, that can be quantified where we can actually put our money behind it. And then it just comes to a situation where it's like, people want us to do 40% off, 3% off, and they want this and that and all this. And like, we all want this to keep going, right? We want this to keep going. You guys want this to keep going. I know with FTMO, like even recently there was an article posted on their website, which is pretty interesting. It was just talking all about gambling and like all the traders that they're seeing that are gambling these challenges and using these different strategies that are not good and all this stuff. And, even them, they're might be around 10 years, but they're dealing with a lot of the same things that we're dealing with. And I just think that at the end of the day, like people want to throw knives at FTMO because they came out with that article and maybe they banned a few people that fucked them over because they couldn't quantify taking their trades. And then those people gamed the system and made a shit ton of money. And then like FTMO's got to pay out of pocket. So they don't like that. And people want to throw knives at FTMO because they then ban those people and like put an article out. But at the end of the day, like what would you guys prefer? Would you guys prefer FTMO banning 2 people out of 100 that absolutely can't trade but just game the system? Or would you prefer FTMO going out of business, you guys never having a prop firm, and then like you're stuck with your thumb up your ass? You know what I'm saying?
You make a great point. You make a very good point, man. Like I think as well, like the thing with prop firms is that, I mean, people, and this is a big thing. All of you guys should listen to this. You guys need to read the FAQs for every prop firm, and you guys need to read the rules for every challenge. I mean, even I ask questions, and like I've thoroughly read all of the FAQs for TFT, but like a lot of your questions are going to be in the FAQs, so
yeah, 100%. I think some people are asking questions like how big has TFT grown in terms of numbers of people directly employed and just in general. And then there's like another question, like, did you ever expect TFT to get this big? Like, I'm going to be honest, like there's not the prop industry and just prop trading in general, at least online. The entire industry is at its infancy, right? We're in the beginning, which is very exciting, right? We're just starting. It's only a couple of years old. I know FTMO says they've been around a while, but they didn't actually start offering really competitive challenges until like about 2018. And I know this because I was in the industry. I got a challenge from them in like late 2018. That was like the first time where it really started to make waves kind of amongst the rounds of social media and stuff. And what we have to realize is like, since we're so early on, there is no TFT is this size and TFT needs to be bigger than FTMO and this and that. Like the industry isn't big. The industry isn't large. So the goal is just to overall grow the entire industry. Like looking at it in terms of numbers, TFT might have 10,000 clients or 20,000 clients or 50,000 clients, right? In a month. But Robinhood has however many users on their platform, like literally like maybe like 90 million users or something, right? Like they have a ton of users on the platform. So obviously we're not even scratching the surface on how many users could potentially be on TFT, on other prop firms. What's interesting to me right now is like we're seeing a lot of these crazy promotions across the board with all of the prop firms. And I think it's great, but I know because, I have transparency in a lot of things that a lot of them are running these promotions without conducting any type of cost analysis or long-term analysis on like the tail end risk of discounting or doing high-end refunds or promising profits, like all this stuff. So you're going to see a lot of new prop firms. You're going to see a lot of prop firms die out. Like 1-800 was saying, you got to really read the FAQs, really know who you're getting in bed with. You're spending your hard-earned money on these things. So you shouldn't be just spending it based on the price being the lowest and like them offering the best condition on Black Friday. I think you should consider a lot of the factors when you're looking into these things. But again, I think we're very early. TFT obviously has grown and is pretty big now, but that doesn't mean that my goals have changed. Like if my goal a year ago was for TFT to grow from, let's just say, from 1 to 3. You know, my goal now is to grow from 3 to 10, or like 10 to 100, right? So it's like my goals are ever changing. I think everyone else's goals should be ever changing. That's the beauty of business and life, is that you can always be like striving for more if you choose to. But passing it back to you guys, so we've got a lot of questions in the chat. I'm going to call him Sat. We've got Sat on here. Why don't you go ahead and unmute yourself and come on the mic? Your mic's a little low. Can you guys hear him or no?
Yeah, I think I can't hear him.
Yeah, your mic's off. What was you want the Baz? What's your name again?
My name is Rboz, Arbaz.
Oh, Rboz.
Yeah. So I'm an Indian and Middle Eastern.
Nice. So tell me, while he's getting situated, tell me like what are your goals right now? Because you're pretty active in the chat. Like I see that you are, right? Like you're definitely one of the more active people. Like what are your personal goals right now with prop trading?
Yeah, man. So honestly, first off, I want to say congrats to you because, dude, like you've been doing a great job with, just the front-end trader as a whole. Like I remember when I first took my challenge, I think in June, July, like the total amount of people was like half the amount right now. So it's, I firmly believe that TFT is like the next generation of being the best prop firm, in the industry. So yeah, man, I appreciate, having ACAP as an actual broker, not like a liquidity provider, things like that. But yeah, going back to my goals, right? I think right now, I'm mainly trying to, get some stabilization in my life. So as you know, I'm like in college, I was working, but I had to quit that. But I'm going to get my degree in like a month here because I graduate in December. So, and I got the funded account, right? So the thing is I think the main goal is to, graduate, get my degree, get a little bit stabilized, slowly get some, nice, consistent payouts, because at the end of the day, I don't know the statistics for how many people keep a funded account, but I mean, guys, the goal isn't to make like 20 freaking K, like every single payout, like you need stability, right? You don't want to over risk, over leverage, right? Because is it like 2%, 3% of people like keep their funded for like 6 months or something like that? I don't even know. But yeah, I just want to get decent payouts, kind of reinvest in myself, pay off my debt, pay off credit cards, anything that I need to do, and then I'm hoping to scale to 600K with you guys, buy some more challenges, max out the funding, and then just get some good payouts.
Yeah, I think the goal for everyone is to keep the funded account as long as possible to consistently be profitable. I saw there was a question in the chat about like the longest that someone has kept an account to this point. Pretty sure the longest standing trader right now has had the account for over a year, which is kind of nuts. So we had one trader that got funded within the first 3 months of us starting, and then he's had the account ever since. So he's probably had the account for like a year and 3 months, which is pretty nuts. So like, why is he keeping his account versus like everyone else, right? There's people that have gotten accounts that just fail. Like literally, I put out that stat off the top of my head. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it was like 70% of people fail the funded account in the first 2 weeks, right? So it's like, why is that happening? And I went over this a bunch in the video, and it just comes down to like over leveraging, over risking, punting the account, not having a plan. Like talk to me about like, what is your plan when it comes to trading? Like talk to me a bit about what your strategy actually is.
Yeah, I got you, man. So basically what I do is I only risk about 0.25%, even 0.225%. So around $225 to $250, because we have like slippage, spread, things like that. So I only risk about $250, right? $225 to $250 for the first like 2K until I can kind of build that capital, because the main thing is initially you don't want to be in drawdown. That's the biggest thing. Being in drawdown just psychologically, like in general, just isn't a good thing to do for, if you take two people, one person's in drawdown, one person in profit, the person in profit's gonna, most likely perform better, right? So
100%.
Obviously, we're not trying to, if we have a 100K account, the max daily is 5%, at 1%, risking 1K, that's 5 trades. At 0.5%, that's 10 trades, and then at 0.25, that's another, what, I think 5, right? So 15 or 20, something like that.
Yeah.
But my point is you guys need to build some capital, some profits on your account before you guys start risking more. And the thing is you guys need to learn how to use the daily drawdown to your advantage, right? If you have a very profitable strategy that can make 10K in a day, if you're in that time frame, you can risk more and more because it's off that initial account, or the daily drawdown is based off the initial account size, right? So say you make like 10K profit, right? Like say you're trading a New York session, right? So you make 10K profit in like an hour, right? Your daily drawdown doesn't reset until like what, 5 o'clock, right? After the session ends, till when 18 session starts. So I mean, then you can risk like 1%, 2%, right? Once you kind of get that ball rolling, kind of like that snowball effect, right? But you know, let me just be more specific of what I do. So I risk 250 till I get to about 2%. Then I risk about 0.5%, you know, either 0.45 to 0.5% until I get to about like 7-8K. And then after that, it's just, if it's in the same day, I can easily just risk like 1%. And then like a 1 to 2 on 1% is easy 2K right there, you know? So it's pretty simple, you know? And the thing is say I get to that, you know, 2K mark, right? And then I start risking 0.5% and then I start losing money, right? The moment I get back to my initial account size, I'm back to risking 0.5%, or excuse me, 0.25%. So yeah, guys, you never want to over leverage, like, and even then, like based on what you trade, you know, you're limited by your leverage and your margin, right? So you can't open too many high lot positions at, you know, one time, right? But yeah, guys, risk management is key. That's the biggest thing. I feel like 0.25 is kind of like the golden number. Don't risk any less than that. Don't risk any more than that initially. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah, because when you're risking that little amount, 0.25, when you lose a trade, it doesn't affect you at all.
Exactly, because it's only $250, you know?
Like think of let's look at it like this. Like you lose 0.25%, you lose the first trade, doesn't matter. Now, if you're in drawdown, you're down 9%, you know, 10% fails, and you're still risking 0.25, you know, you start losing those trades, psychologically, you're probably going to be more affected than that first trade that you lost, right? So what does that tell us from like a psychological standpoint? It tells us that once we're close ultimately to failure, once we're close to losing the challenge, like psychologically it weighs heavily on us. All of those decisions, we might apply more pressure to ourselves. We might just overall be in a worse state of mind, as opposed to in the beginning when we're risking very little, it doesn't affect us at all. Now, wouldn't you want to preserve as much of that? What I'm trying to get at is like, wouldn't you want to preserve as much of that drawdown that you have, kind of like you're saying, as possible, especially in the beginning, so that you're not coming close? Like if you're risking 1%, 2% per trade, you're a few trades away from getting closer to the daily drawdown, to the max drawdown, right? Like you're kind of putting yourself at risk to psychologically be a lot worse off than risking very little. So I really like that idea. To risk very little, try to get ahead. Once you're ahead, leverage the account. One thing that I used to do when I used to trade these challenges was I was very much like breaking even on them, getting retries, or I would be up like 4%, 5%. And then what I would do is towards the end of the challenge, everyone talks about how they worry about the days. So I tried to trade the challenges as if I didn't care about the days. And then if I look up and it's 30 days in, you know, I have 1 day left and I'm up 5%, I would just risk 4% on that final trade. And then if I hit that trade, if I hit literally just 1-to-1 on that trade, little over 1-to-1, I would pass the challenge. And then if I failed it, I would not break the daily drawdown and I would still qualify for a retry. So there's so many ways to kind of skin this game. Then obviously once you get funded, it's kind of a whole other thing. But I think you mentioning kind of your risk management a bit is insightful, because the name of the game is just staying alive and getting ahead.
Exactly, bro. And I think this leads into another big point, that you have to treat trading as, what's the word I'm looking for? You have to treat trading as like as a business, or let's say you have to treat it as like a job. I know that sounds counterintuitive, right? Because we're doing this to escape our 9-to-5s, whatever. But when I say job or treat it like a business, you have to treat trading as kind of a system, right? If you follow your system perfectly based on this, like the statistics of what it shows in your backtesting data or whatever, you should be profitable. I mean, like the only thing about like live and, you know, backtesting is, again, like just having that execution in real time, right? But that just comes with experience, you know? So if you treat your trading as a system, as a business, you're going to be successful 100%.
Yeah. And that's the whole like mission of the company that had started Forex League. Our slogan was literally treat trading like a business, because we had bought a bunch of courses on Instagram, online, and then we realized that none of them worked, or they just weren't that insightful because they didn't talk about risk management. They didn't talk about like margin utilization, didn't talk about leverage at all, like scaling in, moving your stop loss, maintaining orders, right? Like all these things that are critical to actually be a profitable trader, they didn't mention at all. So when we created the course originally, the slogan was treat trading like a business. Because like you said, if you have a legitimate system, you put together a risk management plan, you know that when maybe you have 3 setups that you look for, and out of those 3 setups, when it moves, maybe in setup 1, when it moves 1% in profit, you do something with your stop loss. Maybe you go to break even. Maybe you move it up 0.5%, right? Maybe you take profit, 50% profit off of your target, right? There's mechanisms in each of the setups depending on which position you're in. And you guys that are out there that are struggling with like the confidence and to trade the challenges, how do you absolve that lack of confidence, that worry, is you need to have a plan, right? If you have a plan and you back test it and then forward test it, in the market, you test it. Then once you're in situations, you're going to feel more familiar with the situations that you're in, and you're no longer going to sweat. Like you're no longer going to be worried about what's going on. So you got to always practice for every situation that you're in. And then it gets even to this, someone who's funded, you get up 70K, 80K on your account, or for example, someone recently got up 25K. If you didn't plan to be in that situation, if you didn't anticipate to potentially be up that much, you don't actually know what decisions that you should make, especially considering this. If you try to create a plan once you're in the moment, once you're in the actual situation, your judgment is going to be skewed. I might right now sit down and say, hey, when I get 250K, I'm going to split 70% to my advisor and 10% to crypto and 10% to this and 10% I'm going to spend, right? Like that's my plan. But then say tomorrow I'm given 250K randomly and I didn't plan anything out. I might be more open to impulse into how I go about spending that 250K. So I think, having a plan is definitely critical. And no matter what situation you're in, you got to plan, you got to try to at least plan for all situations.
100%, dude, 100%. And I think another thing I want to mention is that, guys, like the thing about Forex is, if I could give one piece of advice to you guys, it's just like you can't give up, because, let me start from this. So in general, like when you buy a course, like a Forex course, or like a, to learn some new strategy or something like that, like nothing in life is ever cookie cutter. Like things always change based on people's style. So like if a strategy works for someone, it might not work for you, and the only really way to kind of get that high level, that top 1%, of being funded, getting payouts, is it just takes experience. You just need to be trading every single day. I would say, like what do they say? Like if you put 10,000 hours into something, you become a master, right? Yeah. It's with anything. Like say you want to be a tennis pro, 10,000 hours into that, right? Say you want to be, football, player, right? 10,000 hours into that, right? So I think the biggest thing is trading is very individualized. Nothing's ever cookie cutter, and to really understand your style of trading and how to make money, it's all an individualistic thing. It just takes time. So just don't give up. I think around that 3-year mark is when statistically most people become profitable, right? But I think that's a big reason too, like why 98% of traders fail. Is just there's a bunch of factors like work, time, right? So guys, just you can't give up. It just takes experience.
Yeah, it's like you said, there's a lot of external factors that are going on that are out there. Personally, for you, what are some things that you've figured out that really affect you, and that you like? How do you go about?
Oh my God, dude! I think for me, like I don't know how many other traders there are who are like 21 in college and things like that. But so originally I was planning to become a doctor. I mean, I still do want to get my MD one day. But man, I took my MCAT. It's called the medical school admission test. I avoided my score because I didn't think I did good enough. But I should have been already applied to medical school by now. But the thing was just after that sophomore year hit, and then when I found out trading, like I guess just something woke up inside of me, like that kind of like that entrepreneurial spirit. I guess it just kind of manifested. And man, like I was just grinding like hours on hours into trading. Like I would stay up to like 5 a.m. just back testing or like watching videos or doing something, because I was just like I thought about it, man. I was just like, listen, like, do I really want to be a doctor? Do I really want to work 80 hours a week for less than like a janitor's salary, right? And I was like, if I can put my time into a skill that can literally make anyone a top 1% earner, right? Like if I put my time into this and it pays off. And I know it has to pay off, man. Like, and that's a big thing too. Like manifestation, guys, like it works, but you got to put in the work, obviously. Yeah. Right. So I was like, if I put my time into this and this works, like I'm set, you know, I love trading. I love analyzing these charts. And after that, it was just like managing, because, you know, my classes start at like 8 a.m. Right? I get started at 8, get done at 3. And that's like basically end of London into New York, you know? So how are you going to trade when you're in class, like on a laptop? It's just all these factors. So I think obviously it depends for, you know, if you're working like a 9 to 5, whatever your duties are. But, you know, in my situation, if you're a college student, I think the main thing is if you're near that end stages, like, you know, a sophomore, junior, I think just put your head down and just focus on getting a degree, because and finishing the degree. Because the thing is, man, like I'm doing a BS in biology right now, and let me tell you, my school is a #1 public research institution, and the material that we do for my upper level science classes are like PhD level graduate shit. And like I'm telling you, man, like the thing is I don't have time to study fucking 10 hours a day, right? Like right. It's just not practical, right? No. For what? So the thing is like, you know, we're doing crazy stuff like protein analysis, like spectroscopy, crazy stuff, man. And like it's just not like I'm barely passing my classes. So I was like, you know what? Fuck it. I got a month left, so I'm just gonna put my head down. Just I have the funded account till whenever, right? I just gotta put in a trade, I think every 60 days or whatever. But I'm gonna put my head down, get my degree, and then, you know, I'm gonna tell my parents, like, listen, I just need a month or two to just get on my feet. I can pay rent, whatever you need, you know, and once I get the payout, but I just need this time to stay at home. I'll get my payouts and then I'll find my own place. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So and then one more thing for a job. If you're working a 9 to 5 job, there's different styles of trading that you can use to your advantage. If you're trading a 9 to 5 job, like you can't trade the 1 minute chart, you know, maybe a higher time frame strategy on the 4 hour, the 1 hour is going to be more beneficial to you, right? Or if you really want it bad, you really want to get those like kind of swing entries, there's a little bit of those sniper entries, right? Say you work a 9 to 5 and then, you know, you're at home, you just straight up, you don't care about your sleep. That's what I did. I was okay with getting like 2-3 hours of sleep a day, and then you just grind through the night, get 2 hours of sleep, and then just repeat your days until, you know, it pays off. But I'm done talking.
Yeah, so I want to unpack a few things there. Obviously, you're 21, so it's like you got a lot of energy to be doing all this stuff. It's very interesting because I speak with a bunch of different people, right? Like you're definitely someone who's you're deep in college, you're highly intellectual, you're taking all these classes, right? You're able to, you know, bounce back and forth all these different things that you're working on, or all these responsibilities. You know, you're trying to maximize your time and your output as much as you possibly can. And you said a few things. One of the things was if you're a junior, if you're like a sophomore or junior and you're towards the end of the college, like keep your head down, like finish the degree. Listen, this is my perspective on this. I'm someone who's pro degree, right? I think everyone should go get educated. I think it's positive, right? Just to emulate yourself and your brain. You know, I think it's critical thinking at the end of the day. So to promote, you know, critical thinking, I think is key, right? But at the same time, this is when I think that you gotta realize, like, you got a decision to make, and this is the time. So if whether you're funded, you started your little business, you know, something like that, maybe you're making some money, right? When you realize that you going to school, maybe you're out of school, maybe you're working your 9 to 5, maybe it's, you know, you're working 9 to 5 plus hanging out with friends. When you realize that the time you're spending and your 9 to 5 in your college degree is actually losing you money, in the sense that if you were able to focus all of your time and all of your effort on your maybe it's trading, maybe it's your business, maybe it's something else. If you're able to focus all of your time on that, you would make more money. That's when you have to quit your job. That's when you have to leave school. That's when you have to, you know, go all in on trading, go all in on your business. Now, if you're in college and you're not profitable yet, you're not confident in your system, you don't know how to manage your emotions, right? Like you've never gotten paid out, and you're taking classes, like I would highly advise that you continue to take classes and you continue to work towards a degree. It's an attainable goal for you to work towards. You know, you could trade on the side hustle, you know, build up your skills as you're working along. Like if you are not at the point yet where you're profitable, don't even think about it. Now, if you are, you know, and you're close to finishing your degree, I would say finish. I would say finish. I would agree to some extent. You know, obviously, if tomorrow you got paid out 250K on a prop firm, you know, between multiple different prop firms, and you start accumulating net worth, you start accumulating money, you know, I would just say, why would you ever be wasting any time on anything else? Because at this point, you know, you get $1 million, you get $2 million, even less. I mean, you start to actually accumulate some money. You can start to make some investments. You know, you can start to actually utilize that money to make investments that are not high risk, that can bring you some return. And then you start to unlock some financial freedom. Like I'll tell you this, no, I won't say no, because I won't put it all in one category, but like doctors, lawyers, all these people, if you were to go to them tomorrow and you say, I will give you financial freedom, you don't have to work anymore. 9 times out of 10, you know, you get the one that's super passionate about their career. 9 times out of 10, those guys aren't going to work anymore the next day, right? They're out, right? So I think that people need to realize, like, the goal is financial freedom. Don't overstep it. Like, you know, keep working towards it. Don't try to jump too early to get there. But even me, like, I went to a doctor, I think it was like a year ago. I forgot what happened. I think I had like something wrong with my toe or something. I went to this doctor and I told him, he was asking like, what am I doing? I told him a little bit about, you know, finance, online business, stuff like that. And like, he was like, dude, whatever the fuck you're doing, keep doing it, because I would kill to be in your position, to not have to go to work, you know, not have to go into the office and not have to, I mean, he has to respond to patients. I got to respond to people in Discord. you know what I'm saying? But so it's like similar, but yeah, what I'm trying to get at is, like, I like what you said about, like, you have a sense of responsibility. You're going to finish your degree. You know, you're going to try to take trading seriously. When you finish, you'll kind of see where it goes. I think there's opportunity in both. I think there's opportunity in having a 9 to 5, building up, you know, your trading capital. I just think at one point you got to realize, like, when you have a certain amount of money, working a 9 to 5 is counterproductive, and it's ass.
Nah, dude, you're for sure right, man. Like 100%. And I think a lot of the YouTubers right now, I don't know if you know, like obviously, I mean, you've met them. I think I've seen you, like Lambo Raul, you know, FX Alex G, Doyle Exchange. Like, they kind of all had the same come up, right? Like, they would work there. I think Doyle, right? He worked in a factory, like like UPS, something like that, some factory, right? And then at night he would like trade London or some shit like that. But like, since he wanted it so bad, he was okay with not sleeping and being able to trade through London and just getting up and going to work the next day. Like guys, like, these are the sacrifices that you have to make if you really want it that bad. Because what separates, you know, someone being profitable from someone not being profitable as well is, like, they just wanted it bad, you know? Because I'm a firm believer, if you put your time into it and you really want it that bad, it'll happen, bro. Like 100%.
Yeah, no, I think that even looking at myself, like, even now, like, there's a lot of sacrifices I make. People know I'm very active, like, with the Discords, and I'm involved in other businesses too and stuff. And there's just a lot of sacrifices to make if you want to make it in business and you want to work for yourself, and you got to know how to manage your time. Like, speaking on all those guys, like, there's obviously things I disagree with when it comes to certain people, you know, on Instagram and doing stuff. But at the end of the day, from what I've seen with some of the guys that I work with, you know, they all work extremely hard, right? This is what the traits that they have, which I think these are the positive ones, at least. They work really fucking hard. They work every day. Like, there's no off days. Like, every single day they're working, and they take risk, right? They take risk. They continue to take risk, and they don't care how it goes. Like, there's money that's lost. There's money that's made. You know, they obviously have a certain bankroll, and less than I think you would think, but they do have money, and they continue to take risks, and they ultimately understand that, just like trading, you know, in life, maybe you invest in this business, maybe you start this company, maybe you invest in ads, whatever. Just like in trading, some of them hit 1 to 10 risk reward, and some of them hit -1. You know what I'm saying? Some of them hit -2. So it's like, you just got to line up those darts. You got to throw darts at the board, you know, talking about more entrepreneurism. Throw some darts, keep throwing darts. You know, one of them will hit where you want it to hit. One of them will hit the ground. They'll epically fail. And then one of them will stay in the air for a long ass time. You know what I'm saying? And you don't know which one's going to stay in the air, but you got to just stay in the game. And I'm by no means trying to encourage people to, like, purchase challenges with their last dollars and like this and that. But the nature of the business is you got to be in the game. You got to play. You got to keep playing, right? You got to continue to work on your skills, work on your strategy. Like, if you're not in the game, if you're choosing to be on the sidelines, you can't win. That's just how it goes. Is what it is.
Nah, dude. Like I remember I saw this one guy. He was in debt 80K before he got his first payout, which was like 30K. And that just goes to show you, like he was in debt 80K and he still made it at the end of the day. He made all his money back and more. So it's just
we had a business. So I'll tell you guys a story. I had a business recently that I got involved with, and they were negative 250K, I think. I think it was like 250K. And then, it was hard. Like we had to redo the company. We had to redo things. We had to put our own money in, take risks, stuff like that. And now that same company is up positive 1 million, right? And it took months and months and months. But, I stayed the course. We faced failure. We came up with new ideas. We faced a lot of challenges, and we turned the corner. And once you turn the corner and you find a little strategy here, strategy there, figure some things out, you start to create a recipe of success, in that, whether it's trading, business, whatever. And that's when you start to be able to replicate those results that you're getting. So, like you're saying, there's people in the Discord that are negative 30K, negative 50K. They're in challenges, buying left and right, whatever. And one thing to me it was an early thing that I told myself when I got into business, trading, whatever, is I was like, I don't care if I lose 100K in trading. I know at some point I'm going to make 200K, and that 100K is going to be nothing. And that was always my mentality behind it.
Nah, man, for sure. Like literally everything that you said is facts. And on that note, when you said the business that was, minus 250K, but then you guys turned it around, the key factor with that was time. I think the issue is as well, like people have that get rich quick mentality. Like guys, that is not going to happen. Like unless, again, like if you look at a distribution, right? Statistically, there's going to be one out of like 100,000 guys who makes like, the 250K, right? Like SSFX, right?
Yeah.
But guys, like, realistically, right? You can't have that get rich quick mindset, like for number one, for long term, but even for your short term psychology, like when you're just putting in orders, like, because if you think like, oh, I'm gonna risk 2%, I'm gonna hit this 1 to 5, and make 10K, right? That's very detrimental. Like if you lose, man, you're down 2K, so just don't have that get rich quick mentality. Things take time. It has to be organic. It'll naturally fall into place, and then once it naturally falls into place, that scalability will just ramp up, just a snowball effect, and you're gonna start seeing like 20K days just naturally once you've been in the field, So
yeah. I mean, Raul does a good job. He talks about this. I mean, I have no further comment on this, but he talks about this a lot in his posts where he's like 10K days turn into 100K days. And I personally know for a fact that Raul can trade. I've had him trade to my accounts for me. I know he can trade. So he's an interesting player because he talks about that a lot, about how there was once a time when, I was making 1K a day, and then it was 10K a day, and now it's 100K in a day, right? And I think even for me, as we're scaling TFT and there's other businesses I'm involved with, and now, I'm taking trades, whatever, it's the same way for me. I'm not happy with 10K in a day. I want 50K, right? I don't want the $500. I want $3,000. Like the standard of which you believe your output can be certainly does increase, and it's exponential in business, in trading. That's why it's so attractive, is exponential. And you had said something where it's like, you guys got to realize that time cannot be a factor. If you're putting a timestamp, and you probably heard this from every fucking guru in the world, if you're trying to put a timestamp on your success, that shit has already expired. Like you're done. That's it. Like there's no expiration date on success. Like my whole thing is success is the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So anybody that's working towards a goal, that you're successful. You have a goal, you're working towards it, you're an honest person, you're working towards the goal, you're successful. That's it, right? So you have to realize that at some point, as you're working, if you work hard, you're gonna inevitably get results, right? So at some point, those results are gonna be, whether it's 2,000 a day you wanted or 5,000 a day, you're gonna hit that, and then you're gonna change it. You're gonna switch it up to 10,000, 20,000, and we're talking in terms of numbers because we're obviously with TFT and trading. So it's like, just realize that this persistence, this don't marry the expiration date. There's no expiration date. Be married to the work, the journey, the success that you get from having a worthy goal, having a purpose. And then in that, you're gonna have big wins, you're gonna have big losses, but over time, those wins are gonna be bigger than the losses, and you're gonna achieve that financial, goal that you guys originally strove for. So, and that's pretty much it. So everyone enjoy the holiday. Thanks for hopping on, taking the time to listen to us for the last almost 2 hours. And we'll catch you guys on the next AMA later.